Oh, I'm really pleased to meet you, and I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you about this really, really important question, I think. How we get our students to say yes, how we motivate them. Really, is one of the challenges we have, one of the greatest challenges we have as teachers nowadays, is to get our students' minds inside the classroom, not just their bodies. This is really what I'm going to be speaking about in this 15 minutes, different techniques and different approaches that may hopefully will help you in the classroom. I have three main roles in my professional life. I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for many, many years. I also write materials for course books. And I'm also a storyteller, and I go around the world telling stories and writing stories as well. These are my three kind of jobs that I do. And always in all three of these jobs, very heavily on my mind is this subject, is how to get them to say yes. So I'm going to share my screen with you now, and so I can show you some of the slides that I have to give me a chance to explain this, to explain what I mean. So getting students to say yes. And the first thing I want to do is to get you to answer some questions. And these are the questions, three questions. I want you to answer them yourselves because I want you to ask yourself, what motivated you to come here today, to watch this presentation, to take part in this conference? And probably these are the three most important questions that you in some way asked yourself, and it's what got you out of bed this morning to come to do this conference. Can I do it? What's your expectation of yourself? Do you think you can make it? This is fundamental. If a student feels as though they are not capable, they're not going to make it, then motivation will be at an all-time low. So this is an important thing to consider. Obviously, you came today because you thought, yeah, I can do it. Do I want to do it? Of course, this is the key thing. There has to be some value attached to what you're doing. You have to feel that you really want to do it. And you obviously at some point made that decision that, yeah, I want to learn things from this conference, from these talks. And so I have attached my significant value to attending this conference. And then number three, which is a place I think teachers often spend a lot of time, is considering the cost. Students, what stops them from doing it? What would stop you from coming today? And to try to sort of remove those obstacles from students when they're thinking about motivation, the things that stop us from doing things. If there are too many costs, it's very difficult to motivate our students in the classroom. Talking about motivation very briefly today, and getting our students to say yes, I'm going to be talking about the ARCS model, which is very famous and used a lot to talk about motivation, not just in the English language classroom, but everywhere, basically. These four ingredients: attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction. These are four key ingredients to get our students motivated in the classroom. All of them are connected. If one of them works, then it has an impact on another one, as you will see. But like the first one, I think, is attention is very important to talk about just for a moment. Attention. Now, when I'm writing, for example, I'm very focused on I have to get my students' attention immediately, my readers' attention. If you see on the center here, there's a story called Egghead, which I wrote in 2013, but it's about a little boy who lived in 1973. And I needed to get my readers' attention straight away, because then I knew there would be a good chance that they would stay with me throughout the whole story. And so I used different techniques to do that. But with a story, it's clear you have to, if you choose a story, you want something that students grabs their attention immediately, or any input you have that it captures their attention. Just remember, you are the conductor of an orchestra. Your classroom are your musicians. They all play different instruments, and often they play their instruments at different times, at different levels of ability. Really what you're doing is you have an orchestra all together that doesn't really often know how to play together. How do you get their attention and get them to do the best that they can? Well, some of it really is just you as a teacher. You as a teacher and your impact is fundamental. How many times have I seen when I've been out and about, when I've been outside, I've been in the supermarket, I've been at the cinema, and a student or an ex-student has seen me, and the look on their face is one of absolute surprise that, oh, my teacher actually goes to the cinema, actually eats at a restaurant. It's something that students always they have this idea that the teacher is always in the classroom. That's where the teacher belongs, and that's where they associate the teacher. That's where they place the teacher. So, but in a way, it demonstrates how important the teacher is to a student. Use your role as a conductor. Um, Use open body language, arms out, showing the palms of your hand when you're speaking. Show them that you are on their side, that you're not hiding anything, you are with them. Vary your speech, go slowly when there is something important to say. Make your voice louder, make it softer, faster. Use your voice in a way that is not monotonous, that will not send your students to sleep. You know, your speech is like a musical, is the instrument. It's like a song. You've got to use it to keep the interest of your students up. Keep the tasks that get your students, that you have to give to your students in a course book, maybe, give them bite-sized chunks. Don't present them with everything all at once. Give them tasks that they feel they can handle. For example, with reading text nowadays, very often students, they don't look at the content to see if they're going to be motivated to read it. They look at how long it is. If it's like too many pages, too many words, they're already undermotivated. So think about giving them a task that helps them. One way you can do that is to introduce choice. Tell a student, okay, tell me 5 things or 3 things that interest you about this particular text. What interests you about it? This will give them a little bit more motivation. For example, 5 things that you choose to tell others about the text you're reading. And find good ways to warm up. When I do a lesson, I try to keep getting my students motivated right from the get-go by introducing warm-up exercises. And I will do as many as I need to do, because if I don't have my students with me at the beginning, just as is the case with reading a story, I'll never have them. They'll never get to the end. They'll never reach the finishing line. The second ingredient after attention is relevance. We have to make the material that students have to work with, we have to make it relevant to them. That's really important. For stories, when I'm writing stories, I'm looking to introduce characters that are not much older than the reader, and that already interests the student greatly. We want to make our material relevant. How do you do that? Well, with a story, for example, this is a story that I've just written, it's just come out, called The Drum, and this one here is about a boy, about 16, who, has some family issues, some problems, and he finds this drum. He loves music, and it's a kind of an African drum, and he really likes the sound of it. But mostly he spends time with his father. They are both suffering from the loss of the mother, and they are basically trying to rebuild. And this is a very strong emotion, loss. Emotions, if you can bring out the emotions in your students, find a way to tap into them. It's a very general thing I'm saying. At the moment, it's difficult to be specific, but if you can find where the place where the emotions are in anything they've got to do, then they will respond, because emotions are universal things, and we all have lived emotions. We know what they are. We have experienced them. And so you can relate to them in this way. Using the emotions like fear, jealousy, love, these kinds of things, loss, anger. We all know these things. We've all traveled down those roads. And so if you can find a space, and I think there's always a space in every single material that there is something there that students can hook into, relate to if they're in the warm-up, which will allow them to give them the chance to be motivated. I think a lot of it is when you give a task to a student, it's a bit like being in the recording studio. You have to sort of think about task and difficulty of the task. You may have an interesting text that you really love, you want to use with your students, but it's too difficult. Then what you can do is change the task, make the task easier, get them into it. So instead of like asking them difficult reading comprehension questions at the beginning, ask them to find things that they can relate to, that they want to report. Just change the level of difficulty. Get them to find certain words. Anything that will actually give them a chance to go through the door, so to speak, and to actually be motivated. And this is like finding this balance with a Wayland's skill challenge. So if it's too difficult, it will create anxiety. If it's too easy, it will create boredom. So you're always, as a teacher and a conductor of an orchestra, trying to basically move those keys that you see there so that you've got that right balance. And only you can really know that, because only you really know your students, and you know what makes them tick, and you know what interests them. One great way to deal with motivation at the very beginning of your course is to get your students to do a questionnaire, for example. Get them to talk about 2 things they love and 1 thing that they don't like. Record this, keep it somewhere safe, try and remember it. And then after a month or so, start, now and again mention these things, to one of your students. Mention the fact, that, I know that you like horses, you like riding horses, or I know you love your going on your bicycle to the countries. Whatever it is, students will be amazed. They will think, my teacher really cares about me, which of course you do, but you demonstrate that and you get them on your side. You get them motivated. So to knowing your students, knowing how they tick is really important. Confidence, I'm rattling through this as quickly as I can in the time I have. If you're confident, then you're more motivated. Again, this is, can I do it? It's this aspect. And basically think of material, again, here we're talking again about the level. If you, for example, with reading, if they're reading, sometimes it's good to get them to read stuff that's at a level that is lower than the level that they have at the moment. Because it gives them that confidence. It's like driving on a flat road. If you drive in a residential area, you have to stop and start all of the time. But on a flat road, on a motorway, you can drive more quickly, and that increases the fluency, and it gives the chance for the students to recycle stuff they've already learned. But most of all, it increases confidence. So sometimes give them stuff that's a little bit easier. Don't always ask them to climb the mountain. Sometimes it's good to actually get them to go along the flat road and move more with ease, to show them how well they've been doing. Another thing that we have nowadays, which is really important, is we have the possibility to connect with other students, with other teachers from other parts of the world. I am heavily involved in this. I'm fascinated by this, in writing materials for these kinds of activities and organizing groups myself. Very soon I'm going to be organizing a storytelling competition around the world with different students, different places. Kids generally like when they see their peers from other countries doing the same thing as them. It's highly motivating. It makes the subject real. It makes it relevant. Again, ticking another box that we've already talked about. It makes it relevant for them. It gets their attention. And so here we are, ticking all of the boxes. Try to find a way. If you're interested, get in touch with me. I can find a way for you. I can help you to connect with teachers and students from other places. The comments of the students are invaluable. The attention that they place when they see this, the way it changes and transforms some of them is quite remarkable. This is a group across the sky that I run with other colleagues and teachers around the world that work together to get their students to share and talk about themselves, talk about their identity. share things that are important to them, tell their own story, this kind of thing. And finally, to conclude, satisfaction. It's very important that our students are satisfied by what they're doing. It can't all be just pain. It's not motivating. And I would say one thing about this, the most important thing is to get your students to allow them to track their progress. You keep control of that, of course, but if you think about the apps that we have on our phone, the one app that seems to never die, that people seem to use the most, is the steps, uh, where you are a number of steps that you take are counted. This is really, really popular. And the reason it's so popular is it not only tells you how many steps you've taken during the day, it tells you also how many steps you have to take to reach your target. So it's looking up the mountain to see how far you have to go, but also looking down to see how far you've already traveled. And this is very, very motivating. Give students an indication as much as you can of how well they've done. Show them some work they've done in the past, compare it with work they've done now, and this can be really, really highly motivating and satisfactory for them. Get them to ponder these 3 questions as well when they're working. What do I know? Before they start reading about something or doing something or engaging on a new task, a new activity, a new subject, a new structure, what do they know already about it? What do they want to know? And at the end of the process, they can get them to note down what they have learned. This KWL system, a very simple system that you can adopt, allows your student to take part in this whole process of assessing how they are doing. And this also is highly satisfactory. Okay, this is my very high-speed kind of talk on this subject. I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. I've gone over time. I hope you forgive me by 2 minutes, and there's so much more that I could say about this subject, but maybe this will come out in questions. Please feel free to ask any questions you like about any of those things. So just let's recap with motivation, attention, relevance. The next one, do you know? Do you remember? Confidence and satisfaction. These 4 boxes we need to always try to tick when we're conducting our orchestra and speaking to our students. Thank you very much.